Hi, Becky.
Hi Kathy, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay,
Good.
the humidity's gone away, but my crazy hair hasn't.
The only reason mine is smooth is because I went to the hairdresser this morning.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Yeah, this the hairdresser had something to do with this originally, but it was not the concept.
Hey, roll with it. What can you do?
Yeah, it's like, whoa, it's been a little, well, it's been over 90% humidity for a long time.
Yes, it has. It has.
I guess it's getting better, but I don't know.
Well, it's August.
Storm clouds just float by the windows all day long in August, I think.
Yep.
One more thing. So are you guys up for the rest of the summer? I mean, not up. So now that is it, how long have you been year-round residents?
Ah, 10 years now.
Wow.
10
Yeah,
years, 10 years this year. It went like that.
wow.
Went
Yeah,
fast,
that
but
did.
we love it. We love it.
Good, good, good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make room on my, there's this one little box that if I
Hmm.
press that box, the Zoom crashes
Oh,
immediately.
gotta love technology.
Gotta work around it. It's like, oh,
I know. We've learned so much in the last 4 years, haven't
yeah,
we?
we really have about things we never even thought about.
Never, yeah, never thought we'd need to know.
Definitely. Where did that folder- right here. Uh-oh, I lost the little thing. I can't.
You jinxed yourself.
I know I did. I should have kept my mouth shut. Where did it go?
Well, if it crashes, you have time to get back on,
Yeah, that's true. This would be the best time to crash.
right?
But usually I crash right in the middle of the meeting. Right when I'm supposed to talk about something.
Of course.
Yeah. Kathy, have you been digging into all those documents Susie was telling you about?
Yeah, I started looking at them. We were away last week in Washington State, so I didn't do much of the reading
Oh,
then, but
I hope
uh,
not.
no, it was beautiful. But I just started looking at them today, actually.
Oh, cool.
There's a lot to learn.
Yeah, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call or ask me.
I will, thank you.
Hi, Bob. Hey, April.
Hello. Good to see you guys. What's that? What have you got in your hand there, Becky? Oh, it's like
Aren't they beautiful? It's called a stapler. Very handy tool,
it is
especially
beautiful.
when you don't want 20 pieces of paper to fly out of your hand.
Oh, come on. I almost forgot. We had a meeting tonight. Ugh.
So did I. Well, it's Monday.
Right.
Good thing we have calendars and such.
Mhm.
Yes. The summer's going by too fast.
It always does.
When I was young, like the summer seemed to last forever, like it was an eternity. Between the last day of school in June and the first day of school was, wow, it just seemed like went on and on and on. And finally, wait a minute, school is going to be in a couple of weeks.
Mhm.
Then it
I
got
did a
kind of
lot
exciting.
more.
It was kind of exciting to go back.
Yeah, I did a lot more reading back then too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think as you get older, maybe because you have so many experiences that time really accelerates.
Mm,
And everything was new when you're a young person. So
right.
it just took up a lot of space and time
Mhm.
in your consciousness, I think. But now everything is like, well, another summer,
Yeah.
a thunder shower. I don't know.
And time isn't, it's not linear. I
You're
think
right.
that's my experience. It's sort of, it's now and it's 10 years ago. It's kind of,
Yeah. Yeah, it gets more and more like that as you get really ancient. Then you start doing some time travel.
oh,
My mother did that. It was great, in a way.
how old was she when she died?
92.
It's a
Wow.
good long
I used to
life.
think of that as old. It's very old.
It's not so old anymore. Well, I've heard that your 70s are your young old, and 80s you're middle old, and 90s you're old, kind of.
Yeah.
I like those concepts.
I think it's kind of hard to deny. I'm just turned 75 this year that's not old. I mean,
It
it's
is.
old. It's old.
Yeah, it's old, but yeah.
But the
Right
good
here.
news is I'm not going to die young.
No, it's too late.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Yeah.
Did you guys garden at all? Because it was a terrible year for us gardening. It was because of all the damp. A lot of fungus and mold and things.
Mhm.
Things would bloom and look beautiful, and then there wasn't a second blossoming.
No, I got washed out pretty bad. A lot of
Yeah.
my broccoli just got fungus, turned all black. Weird. I
My
guess
weeds look great.
Yeah. Do you? Yours is?
My weeds look great.
Oh, the weeds look okay. They can handle it.
I was having a war with slugs for a while, and then I sort of given up on my own vegetable garden. I have flowers, but I'll go to farm stand, or Elaine Paleo will bring me. She and John have one of the most amazing gardens, and this time of year I'll get a zucchini the size of a small baby.
There's that.
So that, yeah, in the farm stands and stuff.
And we have good ones in our neck of the woods.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes, we
You know,
do.
everybody knows J&J Farms down in Hammond. I was down
That's
there,
corn.
and her
Absolutely.
broccoli was beautiful. And I said, "Do you spray it?" She goes, "We're not organic." I said, "Well, yeah. So you must spray it. That's why it looks so nice. It doesn't have fungus." She said, Yeah, we're spending $50,000 on chemicals for our vegetables this year
Ooh,
Whoa,
because of the mold and fungus problems.
wow,
wow.
100,000 on the tobacco.
wow.
At
Well, that's a
least
lot.
the tobacco will pay for itself.
Tobacco is like very susceptible to fungus, I guess, So
Oh.
they really had to spray it with all this weather, but yeah, hopefully a crop will come in, because if it doesn't, boy, what a lot of money that is.
Mm.
They've already had their problems, and they do have problems.
Yeah. Yeah. But they have the best corn.
They have great corn. They're nice people too.
They are very nice people. Part of the fabric of our community.
Yeah, it's great that they've resilient enough to rebuild, and they're not getting milk cows again. They were the last milking farm in Amherst,
Yeah.
but they're not
Yeah.
going to get milkers again. So
I'm gonna call AJ. Cause maybe he forgot too.
yeah,
Here comes Susie FinCom. I like that name.
So there were two Zoom links, two different ones.
oh really?
Really?
Oh,
Yeah, so
No, but there's only one.
I was just sitting on something else and realized something must be up, so.
Well, you know what didn't make sense because the other one doesn't work.
Right, well, it makes you sit there and say the meeting will start. It has it listed as
I
a FinCom at
apologize.
6:30.
So what happened is I originally had done it for August 5th.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
it accidentally, and when I went back to check it tonight, I was like, wait a second, that's no good, that's gone.
I'm going to call Jim
so
Hemingway and tell him that it's probably sitting in some antechamber. And maybe we should call AJ. Maybe it's
Yeah, just
AJ
tell
might,
him to go on.
AJ might
I'll call
also.
AJ.
Okay,
Okay.
we don't know George. Kathy got here, April got here.
Yeah, I
Bob
just
got
clicked on the link on the calendar.
Yeah, because there's only one link on the calendar.
Right,
Where
but
else is it?
there, I got the wrong link on. Not directly off the calendar, off the other thing. So there were two possibilities.
So what is the other thing, Susie?
The list
Okay.
of all the meetings that are, but not in a calendar form, in a listing form.
Hi, AJ, are you coming to the meeting? Because we
You have to go
had a problem with the Zoom
postings.
link.
Mhm.
You need, it's the one that if you go to the calendar on the website, you will get the right one. Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Bye. Tom Seifert made it.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Tom. We
That
just
news?
discovered there was an older link that had expired and it's somehow confusing.
Oh, I just went to the town website calendar and
Good.
that's okay.
That was
We
fine.
went to the town website too. You had to go to the calendar, not the listing.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even know what the listing means.
Either.
Well, hope it works out. I'll mute myself now.
Okay, thank you. The listing, maybe I can figure out what's happening there.
But George said he wasn't going to make it tonight, right?
Right, George is not, where he can get
Jim
in.
Hemingway is going to join us, so I just
Good,
spoke.
good, good.
Sounds like AJ is too.
Oh, yeah, and AJ was still on his way, it sounded like. Huh. Meetings. Susie, do you know what that link was you had on the website? Because there's meeting agendas, but it's not there.
Well, on
Oh, I can't find it, Susie.
the inbox, I have a change and at 5:35, there was one called change, and then there's another one, and one of them lists two different, let me go back to that. Where is
But
it?
where are you?
Well, now I'm looking at my email.
Oh, you got an email.
And then in my email, yeah, so in the email, there are two different Zoom links listed. Maybe three, no, two.
No, there would have been, oops, here's AJ.
There are two different ones listed, but we don't have to go into that. Where am I?
Here's Jim. Susie, you can show me on my computer sometime,
Okay,
because I don't know what you're
I
referring
don't
to.
know where I
Hi,
am.
everybody.
Here we are.
Hey, AJ.
Oh,
So
here,
sorry, guys, I'm running behind.
it's all right.
All right, let's see. So we've got, are we waiting on anybody else? So we've got,
No, you're all
I
here.
know
and
George, we don't
Kimberly
have to.
Here now too.
Okay, great. All right. So should we deal with meeting, minutes first from
Yeah.
July 16th? All right. So,
Seems like a long time ago.
all right, has everybody had a chance to review these? I know it's
Yep.
been a while. Any questions for, I think, Susie, you did these minutes, right? These are our last set
Mhm.
that you're doing. Would you mind just doing one more?
No, I told
Okay.
George I'd cover
Okay,
for him from
right.
the bench.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I was panicking.
Short straw.
All right, anybody have any questions or,
Just one question, Susie,
yeah, Bob?
on FinCom assignments. It says AJ Cashew and George Arafinides were nominated and approved unanimously as capital planning representatives, but I think that's not accurate. Me and
That's,
AJ, I think. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah.
George, I don't know how it ended up.
Yep, George got off and you are on.
actually, no, it's,
No,
No, it's the other,
it's George and Bob. I'm
yeah,
the one
it's
that's on.
changed.
Right, that was.
okay, I'll edit that, thank you.
Thanks, good catch, Bob. All right. Any other changes or suggestions?
Nope.
All right, I'll make a motion then to approve the minutes from July 16th as amended.
I'll second.
I'll start it off. Groves, aye.
Jim, I think you're muted.
It was Hemingway, I.
Cashew, aye.
Mosier, aye.
Salvador, I.
Stein, aye.
Great. All right. Next on the agenda is an update on the regional school committee budget process. No major updates other than just informing you all that Susie has set up a meeting with the new superintendent. So Susie, is she going by Superintendent G? Am I saying that
I
correctly?
think it's Z. I
Z,
think
okay.
XI is Z.
Okay, got it.
And
that's
yeah,
I
Dr.
thought that
Z.
was like an abbreviated version of her last name. Is that right?
Yeah,
But that's what she's going by. Okay, great.
well, her last name is Herman,
Okay, got it.
and so she's going by Dr. Z.
I
Okay.
XI.
Okay, got it. So Susie and I are going to meet with Dr. Z on Friday morning. And, I thought it would be, in addition to just letting you guys know that was going to be happening. We talked about it at our last meeting. I thought it I don't think we want to come into this meeting with like a heavy-handed agenda or anything. It's really more of a kind of, I don't know. I would say our biggest goal here is to kind of develop a good sort of positive working relationship with her. And this is kind of a first step in that direction. I do think we should inquire about sort of what she envisions as a kind of a budget, like at least the start of a budget conversation. Because I think there've been some suggestions that maybe that process ought to start in August or late August. And so I think other than just kind of checking in on what she's thinking in terms of a kind of first kickoff budget meeting with the 4 towns, I think it's really just an opportunity to establish a relationship, tell her a little bit about kind of our town, how we work, because I think every town is a little bit different in terms of how we work with the region on the budget, kind of answer questions. And that's pretty much it. But does anybody have any thoughts or anything they want to share just in connection with this upcoming meeting, or something they think it's important for us to communicate?
AJ,
Yeah.
just to sort of echo what you mentioned, I think that's really important to tactfully, diplomatically point out that we had a lot of problems last year because of the way the budget was formed and then altered, and we really are trying to get ahead of that this year, and we appreciate her efforts to help us with that, because I think that is something that's crucial from our point of view, and that she probably will hear from other people too, but it wouldn't hurt just to make that. That's a really big point, I think, for you to make, that they need to work on that and deliver it quicker,
Yep. Agreed. I think that was well put. Yeah. April.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would do too much on that. I think I would suggest that we as 4 towns meet before December, that starting the process earlier, given what happened last year, I think we can avoid things if we are meeting September, October.
Yeah. Yeah.
How aware is this new superintendent of what happened last year?
Well, I mean, I believe that she's already met with representatives from the Amherst Town Council, and I think among the different parties that I think have a lot of concerns about how the process unfolded last year, I think they were particularly sort of irked by the process. So I'm sure that this will,
She knows.
that she's heard something about it. Yeah.
Doug's still there?
Okay.
Yeah.
Doug is
He'd be the one that really would be give her the background, I think,
Yes. And he's back, which I think is good for us. He's back in his role as financial director. I think that's the title, finance director for the district. And I just think it bodes well for us to not have him pulled in 1,000 different directions this year. I think he's going to have a very important role in responding to lots of different ideas and suggestions about how the budget should be crafted. And he's gonna have his work cut out for him. But yeah, I think I agree with everything that's been said. I would say I'm not inclined to say I would say not December, but September. I would like us to kind of get at least have the first discussion before the end of September, just because I think I just think the challenges are going to be really significant this year. Susie.
Do you know if she got that letter from the Amherst Council that we got?
I imagine she did, because I think they actually formally voted on that letter. So I think it has been it's an official sort of statement or communication from the town council, and I think it was joint, if I remember correctly, it was kind of jointly sent from the town council and the finance committee. So I suspect she has, yeah.
Kathy, did you get that one?
I don't think so. Who did it
Okay.
come from?
So
Amherst.
this was a letter that I think it originated within the Amherst Finance Committee, and then it ended up being discussed and approved jointly by the Finance Committee and the Amherst Town Council. And it kind of lays out a set of concerns about the budget process last year and about the upcoming FY26 budget, and does some of the things we've been talking about, which is recommending a much earlier start and in the four-town collaboration on the budget. It's set a pretty, I think, what's going to be a difficult sort of target to stick to, which was, I think, they essentially said, like, for FY26, it recommended that the district plan on no greater an increase in Amherst assessment than 2%, which
2.5.
was it 2.5? Yeah, 2.5.
I can send you that, Kathy. So
Thank
you
you.
should have that as running into this new year.
Thank you.
Are you going to be able to meet in person or is this Zoom?
No, in person.
Oh, good.
Makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Huge.
Um,
Thank you for doing that.
yeah, for what it's worth, I've heard very positive, I think, early impressions from a few different people that have had the opportunity to meet with her. So I've been encouraged by kind of what I've heard so far. So anyway, looking forward to that. Okay. Anything else on the region?
So who will get to call? Do you think it'll be the superintendent that initiates the first meeting? Is that who comes in?
The first four-town meeting?
Yeah.
I think it's it's either the superintendent or the finance director or the regional school committee that I think it's officially calendared as a school committee
Yeah,
meeting.
so they have to coordinate with the school committee.
Right. So I suspect that I haven't actually I've got to look now that I think they have a pretty light meeting schedule over the summer, the regional school committee. I have to look at when their posted meetings are, but I suspect that they will make that this will be an agenda item in one of their meetings. I'll keep an eye on that. And I suspect in discussing that they'll set a potential date for a first meeting. There is this subcommittee that I think I shared with you a memo that they produced that I think it was also another positive sign. There's a subcommittee of the region that's working specifically on sort of budget sustainability and making a set of recommendations to the larger committee. And I also have to check on when they're meeting, and they also, in their initial memo to the committee, recommended getting an early start. So I suspect that they're going to be bringing it up as well. So one thing I wanted to mention related to the regional school committee is that I think some of you may have heard that there's been some, I think, updates and maybe a little more clarity on the track and field project. And so it has some implications for our town because it sounds like I want to get my numbers right here. So the total cost of the project is estimated now to be $4.4 million. Okay. This is, if you'll recall, this is the version of the project that both reorients the track in the north-south configuration. Am I getting that right, Susie? Is it north-south?
Yep.
It's the better configuration, right? And and basically installs a new grass internal field. So they, the funds that have been allocated so far for the project are, let's see, $1.5 million from the 4 towns, which we've already been assessed when this project first, when there was the first debt authorization vote. So that's going back now 2 years, I think. Plus $900K from Amherst free cash that they allocated, plus $957,000 of Amherst CPA funds that were authorized, has already been authorized for this project. So let me see what that gets. I must have done something wrong with my calculator here. All right, so
AJ,
Yeah.
Doug has been talking to our CPA, our CPC committee, and I think he's looking for 134,000 or 136. I'm not sure the exact number.
Yeah, so that's what I had heard as well. They are going to ask Amherst for another $800,000. I don't know if that's coming from CPA, another CPA request. And then they're under a lot of, they've gotten a lot of I think pushback from the town council to ask for additional funds from the 4 towns, the other towns. And so that was one of the things I wanted to just make sure we in this committee were aware that there was going to be, I had 136,000 as
That sounds right then.
that they are planning to request from Shutesbury, a CPA request. And I think there was some discussion of like, could this be allocated at like a special town meeting? So that I was wondering, Becky, if there was, I know we have a town meeting coming up, but like there's no way that our CPA could consider this request in time for the special town meeting that's already been scheduled, right?
No, not for that one. We're planning a second special town
Okay.
meeting before Thanksgiving
Okay,
in November.
okay,
And that's what the CPC is shooting for.
okay, got it. And do you know if they actually have submitted a request or they've just talked to?
They may actually they're meeting, CPC is meeting on the 22nd. So I think they're on the agenda for the 22nd.
Okay, all right, that's good. I just wanted to make sure that they, that the region.
Doug has been in communication with me and I moved him on to Matteo Pangalo, the chair of CPC, and he's been working with Matteo
Okay, that's great. Good.
and Rita.
Okay. And they're going to be, I think they're doing similar requests from Leverett in the amount of 176,000 and from Pelham in the amount of 99,000. So I think that should kind of close the gap, because right now they only have about $3.4 million allocated for the project, and as I mentioned, it's estimated right now to be 4.4 million. So they're like $1 million short. Okay. Any questions about track stuff?
Yeah, just one question, AJ.
Yeah.
There's still some unknowns here.
Mhm.
We don't know if the 4 towns that we're going to approve this. Every one of the towns has a process that has to be completed, right? I mean, we have to vote on
No,
this.
it was already approved, wasn't
Right.
it?
The
No,
only,
about the
Or the
additional funds.
CPC.
you're talking about the additional CPC.
We
Okay.
approved a certain amount. We didn't approve the amended version. So I'm just saying, what happens if any number, any one of those towns box.
Okay,
Uh,
so if they can't raise, and I'm gonna make an assumption here, if they can't raise enough funds to get from where they are right now, which is roughly 3.4 million to 4.4 million, there are a number of features of the project that they had already sort of identified as, they had a term for it, that it's like a
Alternate list or
alternate
something?
list. Yeah, so these are things like lights. I think maybe some of the bleachers. There was like a list of features that could be added to the project if funding was available, and could be removed from the project if it's not available. So I think, I guess to directly answer your question, if they can't get approval for these additional requests, they're probably going to have to pull some of those items from that alternate feature list, and remove them from the project.
Got it. Thanks.
I think fencing was another one. If I'm not,
Grass.
the grass is part of the core project, so that's not an alternate feature. Susie,
Do you know if in those numbers, one of them is the fundraised number, or is that just considered part of Amherst contribution?
that is that is a good question. Because I think I might be missing that number, which, if I remember, do you remember what the amount was? So there was, I want to say it was in the like $200,000 range or something like that. This is what the hurricane boosters had raised. It ended up coming in at a smaller number because some of the commitments that were made were assuming an artificial turf. And so people had the option of rescinding their, proposed contribution once the project changed. But I don't think I'm including that. You're
Do
right.
you, maybe when we're down there, or before we go down there, we can ask Doug if he
Yeah.
has a spreadsheet on this so that we get the numbers lined up a little bit.
Yeah,
I'll send that email to them.
okay, that sounds good. Yeah. And as far as I know, they are not going to do any more fundraising for the project. I think they were quite, I think, unhappy about sort of the developments, and the kind of when the project shifted. So they essentially, kind of closed out their campaign. Okay. I think that's it on the track. Let's see. So I think, Susie, I think you mentioned to me that the personnel committee, or the select board, I can't remember who it was, asked for a FinCom representative for a negotiation team. Can you fill us in on that?
Yeah, so at the last, I think it was the last one, select board meeting, the personnel board came to explain their recommendation that the process of negotiating the town administrator contract had been only being done in executive session with select board members, and personnel board there's a personnel board.
And they
Go
ahead.
two of them,
There's two of us.
two of them.
Yeah. We
That's
as
right.
we as a matter of course on the personnel board follow up on department head contract negotiation, and found that it seemed like the process with the town administrator had come to a halt.
Mhm.
And that's a concern. It's also a concern that the typical process has been contracts are negotiated with a representative from each of the three committees. That's just, I don't think it's a policy, but that's how we have done it in the past. And just wanting to, bring that to light with the select board and recommending that the select board can do what they choose. Absolutely, they're the hiring authority, but to recommend that somebody from both, a representative from both the finance committee and personnel board be part of the negotiation. So as I understand that they have approved that, is that my understanding, or are open
Yeah.
to that?
Yes, I think that's how the meeting ended.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
So I
that's
think,
the meeting.
all right. So then I think the implication for us is we should identify somebody who's willing to serve on that negotiation team.
Right.
Bob?
I would volunteer to be on that.
Okay. All right, so we've got one volunteer. Anybody else have an interest in that, April?
Yeah, I don't have an interest, but I would like to recommend that George, not just because he's not here, but that he be part of that. That would be my recommendation.
So I guess one question I have for you is, has the personnel board already identified somebody? Okay.
No, we're meeting on the 22nd is our
Okay.
next meeting, and
Okay,
we will identify somebody at that point.
okay, got it. So so this is just a thought. Oh, Kathy.
Am I too new to be involved in such a negotiation, or?
No.
Well, you're also a member of the personnel board, so
Yeah.
that's another avenue
Right,
potentially, but
right.
yes.
And since George is not on the personnel board now, he could represent the FinCom and Kathy could represent the PER board if that's how it can
I'd like to
work.
make one point about that, folks. That is that the personnel board did develop this. Did they not develop this contract or this recommendation?
No, we've had nothing to do with this contract. This is,
Did not do the
that's what I was saying. Normally, it's a representative from 3 committees go ahead. I mean, we were represented in the last contracting cycle, but have had no input or contact through this one. And it's not a, I think it's time to open up the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Bob, did you have something
I
else?
just think I'd be a good person to do it. I think I'm objective and not. We're all friends here. We all know each other very well, but I think I could do a good job on that committee.
Mm-mm.
All right. I would be, just if I could chime in, just my thought was that Kathy, that your professional background would I think would make you particularly well suited to being part of a group that was working on this. So I'm wondering if would it be overkill for I mean, obviously the personnel board, maybe we could encourage them to nominate.
I think-
So George is not part of that committee, but maybe they could nominate Kathy and the
Yep.
FinCom. Like, would it be overkill for us to have 2 FinCom members, like Bob and George, on this? Did they specifically ask for 1 representative?
That wasn't approved by
Yeah.
the select board.
Okay.
I know this is,
It can go back to them as a request, but that's not what they approved.
and I understand this is a hard decision, and I think in some ways there's no bad choice. I think Kathy absolutely. I mean, we can talk about this at our next meeting, and I think your expertise it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
It's all over yourself.
Right.
I guess this is hard because I have respect for both George and Bob, tremendous amount of respect. And
Well, I wonder if, since it's been such a long process and it's gotten nowhere, if a brand new, fresh perspective might be the thing that helps get it resolved and over the finish line.
Yeah, but George hasn't been involved in the process. Neither is Bob and neither have you. It will, there's only the select board has been involved in the process so far, and that's what
Okay.
the personnel board was recommending, that it include the process that's been used before, a FinCom, a per board, and a select board member. And the advantage of that is that there's 3 people who can talk to each other because they're not on the same committee. And it's a process that's worked before and been used before, so
Mm.
that's
For as
why
long as
we're
I
at
know.
this point.
Yeah, and I'm not sure you know, and it is not a policy, you know, and maybe that should be looked at given this.
I think it was on the books as a policy when Penny Kim was on, and it's one of the ones that did not, it got lost because of the old computers, but it was a
Huh.
policy, I believe.
Okay. Well, I think it makes sense. You know,
Well, I don't know, I'm thinking that like, I would rather maybe not sort of like take the risk of that the personnel board wouldn't just choose Kathy. And so I'm thinking maybe I might be inclined to just make a motion to request Kathy to kind of represent us on this committee. Just because I feel like if we, like, I don't want to just assume that the personnel board is going to, would select her. I have no idea like who else is interested in this responsibility on the committee.
this is hard because we haven't gone through that process, and I think I would imagine that Kathy would be likely, but we certainly have not talked about it as a committee. It's it crossed my mind as the perfect choice.
Yeah.
So that would put the personnel board in a position of, we've got we have other members who absolutely could become part of it. George has just been part of this process so many times, and I understand he's not here, so that makes it even more challenging.
Well, I find it rather odd and a little disappointing, to say the least, that I'm being cut out of this. And I'm taking notes here. I don't understand why you would object to my participation in this, AJ. And I've been on this committee for 9 years.
Yeah.
That's a little upsetting to me, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry.
Somebody who's already on the personnel committee, you're recommending that take this job. So fine, okay, but
Bob, you've already done the police union negotiation.
I've done the police union negotiation.
So as far as the amount of people who've had an opportunity to deal with any contracts, you already did one and others haven't.
Oh,
I'm just saying that you spread the work around, and
I don't think that it's right for you to be speaking up on this
opportunities.
issue, Becky, to tell you the truth. So,
Okay.
again, and I
So
did
Bob,
a good job on the
Bob,
I had no problem doing the police, as you know, it worked out. I was very cooperative with the other members of the board, including yourself. So I just don't get it.
agree with that. That wasn't the issue. I just said you already spent a lot of work on a contract this year. That was my only comment.
So Bob, my suggestion has absolutely nothing to do with a desire to pass you over or anything. It was really, I just was thinking about a kind of unique set of skills and kind of professional background that Kathy brings to her role in the finance committee. And I just seemed like an obvious choice to serve on a committee that's gonna responsible for negotiating an important, personnel contract. So it was entirely about thinking that she has a kind of unique set of skills that would probably bring a lot to that group. So that's why I was making that suggestion. It had nothing to do with my, I'm sure you would do a great job, and I'm sure you have a valuable make valuable contributions to this group. I'm just trying to think about what would be a good role for her in particular.
And I also think that the personnel board has certainly other members who are have not done this kind of thing before or are open to it. So I think it would not be it's nice to have that, the level of expertise that Kathy brings in, a sense of neutrality that is, I think it would be wonderful from either board. But if it's from this board, then the personnel board will certainly find a representative, not to worry. I think it's important that we need to move forward on this.
Is there an initial, like, what's the time frame for this? Are they expecting to meet with this expanded negotiating committee like soon, this month, or is there any sense of what the timing of this might be?
I'll say no.
Okay.
That wasn't at
Yeah,
the meeting.
there-
That was not my sense.
No, nor mine.
And the per board's not meeting till the 22nd, you said?
Right. A
And
week
so
from
no-
Thursday.
nothing will be happening until after that.
Right.
All right, one thought, could we potentially kick the can down the road until after the personnel committee has selected their representative?
I see why, if there was a meeting coming up in the next week or so, absolutely not. On one hand, I think having the committee formed sooner is better than later, but I don't think any huge harm would be done. We will meet, but the personnel board will meet in a week, a little more than a week. And the next FinCom meeting would be when?
So I'm thinking probably. So the 20, we gotta get back on track, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it probably will be September 3rd, unless it was next.
6 and 14, right? Our meeting was going to be on the 6th,
Oh, wait, am I looking at
6 and
the?
14, the 20th.
I think you're screwing it up, Susie.
We were supposed to meet on the 6th,
Of September,
August
Third.
6th.
Oh,
right, 6/20.
right.
That's right, then it's,
So I guess I was just saying,
AJ said the 3rd, right?
yeah, so our options for our next meeting
That's
are,
right.
we could either meet next week on the 20th, but I think that's gonna be too soon. I don't think we're gonna have much of an agenda, and the personnel board will not have met by then. Or the 3rd, September 3rd.
The problem, actually, yes, we're talking about it. The problem is that sort of leaves this open for nearly another month.
No, we don't.
And that's not good for the town,
Okay,
in my opinion. And the select board may or may not act on it, quickly, but
Yeah.
at least to have that option, I think would be better.
I don't want to volunteer for this if I don't have support of the committee, so I'm going to withdraw my motion or whatever it was called. I'm not interested in doing this.
okay. All right, so I think that.
AJ, I want to, I have my hand up. I want to reiterate that George's experience of being on the personnel board for many years gives him a perspective about how people make decisions, what kind of information they can gather, what kinds of thoughts they have. And so that's why I still think that George could work from the FinCom and Kathy could work from the per board if the per board chooses her. And they would probably choose her because she's got that background.
Yeah,
I can't speak for everybody, but yeah, I agree.
All right. You want to make a motion to that?
Yeah, I nominate George Arvanitis to be the FinCom rep for the town administrator negotiations that the select board is involved in.
I'll second that.
Okay. So we've got a motion, a second. Any other comments? All right. George, you're kicking us off today, right? Yeah, George. Excuse me.
I'm going to abstain from this. I'll make a brief comment. I think it's very important when conducting this kind of a review of a town employee, since we all live in a small town and we're all friends and neighbors, that we try to maintain an objectivity and not have the same old people rotated through reviewing each other, which I fear is what's happened in the past on this committee and in town politics. And I don't like it. It's a sort of it's going to be everybody being too friendly and too chummy does not work for the benefit of the taxpayer, which after all is the finance committee's mandate to represent the taxpayer, not the town employees and not any other person. That's our goal. And that's why we have to maintain that perspective. And when you're friends with somebody, it's hard. So people would generally, being friends with somebody, would recuse themselves from being in that position because they know they would have divided loyalties. So I think I can provide that kind of perspective on this committee. I'm withdrawing because I don't like the what I consider to be the favoritism towards people that have done this over and over again, as you pointed out. It's not the right way to go. So that's the last thing I'll say on it.
Okay.
I'm going to vote. I'm going to abstain on that vote.
Abstaining. Okay, Jim.
Nay.
Okay, Cashew, yes.
Mosier, yes.
Salvador, yes.
And Stein, aye.
Okay. All right, so I'm really hoping the personnel board selects you, Kathy. So hopefully that this works out. I'm a little nervous. Just
We'll
'cause
see.
we're sort of assuming that's gonna be how this plays out. But, okay, so we have our representative, and I'm sure we'll hear about this in upcoming meetings. All right. Let's see. Okay, I think next up we have an expense report that was sent recently, I think August 9th. So if I can share my screen.
Second, AJ,
Actually, yeah,
sorry.
no problem. Okay. 1 second. So, Kathy, I think this will be the first time that you're looking, or that you're reviewing an expense report as part of our meeting, but this is something we do, I wouldn't say every meeting, but kind of every couple of meetings. Becky shares with us periodically updated expense reports, and I'll just share the most recent version on the screen right now.
Now I'm hoping, I think what you're,
So this
yeah,
is
this is the very first run of the new fiscal year.
okay. Got it. All right. Yep. So it's FY25 start date July 1st through August 15th. Although I think you ran this, if I'm not mistaken, it was August 9th. Is that it? Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I can look at the bottom here. August 8th. All right. So this is basically July 1 through August 8th. So Kathy, just to explain this. So this comes from the accounting system that the town uses. Every line in this expense report corresponds to a line in our budget that we that the town approved at last town meeting. And we have an allocated line, which is, our, obviously our budget amount for each of these lines. And then we see kind of the amount expended, and then a current balance is this third column. And the last column just gives us a percentage of that line that has been spent to date. So that's how to kind of read this. And so it's a little hard to make much of this early in the fiscal year, but what we typically do is we'll take a few minutes and we'll go through the expense report. We'll identify lines that look like they're trending towards maxing out before the end of the fiscal year, or that may be significantly underspent, and that those kinds of issues might generate some questions for Becky. Becky usually has kind of a couple of lines that she has some sort of important context or background information to share, and so that's just kind of part of our sort of regular process. So and I think one of the things you'll notice in this first expense report, I'm trying to think of a good example, is that like this might be a good one here, the assessor's computer maintenance. So some of these lines that are like already spent 100%, are things that, like our subscription-based kind of expenses that get paid, at the beginning of the year, for example, or a contract that gets paid at the beginning of the year. And so, that's it's not a concern that this is at 100%. It just refers to kind of the billing cycle for that particular line. All right. Did anybody have any questions or concerns about any lines in the expense report that they wanted to bring up? I'm just going to scroll through this. Bob.
The only thing I'll say is that when somehow in my mind, I always put the heading on top of the list of individual expenses in my mind. So again, I have to constantly check myself with this format, because if you look at buildings, for example, it looks like it's underneath zoning boards of appeal to my way of thinking.
Right.
And so it's just a comment. It's not, this is the way it is. I'll have to make an adjustment, but it's not easy.
Yeah. So like to Bob's point, these headers that are bolded actually correspond to the lines that fall above it. So just a little.
Even though they're called headers, they're footers.
Yeah. I mean, if you kind of look in between the lines, I think that's another maybe way to, yeah. Got it. Okay. Becky, you didn't have any particular lines that you wanted to.
I just got a text from Becky that her computer crashed.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. See her here.
Yeah.
So we do see that the fire station
just gonna
mitigation's
have-
overspent,
Yeah.
because that's a problem.
Yeah. So we're already.
I don't see why it's overspent.
What is that item for?
They have a gas leak from a tank that was underground, and they have been, they are under DEP orders to figure out what the extent of the problem is and then to get into mitigation, so.
Just Becky just texted that she is updating her Zoom on her computer, trying to get updates.
Got it. All right, so we should ask her about this line when she's back on.
Here she comes.
All right.
you able to zoom that a little bigger?
Yeah, sure.
There we go.
That helps. Okay.
That helps.
Um, Okay, Becky, we had so far just one question, and that is about the fire station mitigation line, which looks like it's overspent now by $3,400. Could you give us a little information about that? Oh, did we lose her again?
Oh, boy.
I could have sworn I just saw her. Okay, no, I think she's gone. Oh, nope, sorry.
Oh, she's back.
There she is.
Okay, sorry. My main computer started doing Zoom updates
Ah, no worries.
and it's still going.
All right.
Oh.
I don't know if you heard me, but we
You
just,
said you had a question, but I couldn't see it.
Okay,
It just
so-
came back.
all right, it's about the fire station mitigation line, which looks like is already overspent by almost $3,400.
I think in part we have a $14,000 line that should have come out of, there's another fund for mitigation. I'll talk to Gail about that tomorrow. I think what was supposed to come out of the new one that the FinCom funded for the wells, the new wells around the fire station
Uh-huh.
got put in the wrong account. It should
I
have
see.
come out of the $14,000 quote that we had been given by Ty and Bond,
Okay.
which should be, yeah,
do
so
you
that
know-
gets corrected.
Do you know off the top of your head what line that should have come under or come out
It
of?
would have been in it would not be in the main budget. It would be in one of the, they used to be Fund 30 funds
Right. Okay, got it.
down below.
All right, so that's just an accounting thing.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? All right. I think that's it. Okay. So I think so. It sounds like that issue will get resolved probably in the next report we get. Okay. So it doesn't sound like there's any other questions on the expense report. We'll stop sharing.
We
that.
will note that the reserve fund is now 55,000, not $75,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. Those are all the agenda items that I had. Is there anything else that folks wanted to discuss? before we
I think
adjourn?
the next meeting is gonna fall on election day. Is that right? Primary election day?
Is that the third?
Yeah, I think so.
We can't meet, you can't meet on the third.
So we would, and on our next meeting, we would begin discussing the letter to send out to departments and some of the things we've learned in the past and how we want to look at that. So rather than pushing it later, I wonder if we want to push it soon.
So the other change the select board made is they are not meeting on August 27th.
Oh, they're not. Okay.
They are not.
Oh.
They moved that to August 22nd, which is just another problem with the personnel board.
Got it.
But,
Okay.
but you guys could have that, August
Yes.
27th.
Yeah, so then we should definitely meet on the 27th. Yeah, the only reason I had picked the 3rd is I assumed that,
Yeah, and I had to look at the calendar.
okay. So, so we'll plan to meet on the 27th, get back on our regular Tuesday night schedule, every other Tuesday night. So I think what we'll do at that meeting is we'll have an update from our meeting with Susie and my meeting with the superintendent. When is the CPC meet? You gave that date earlier,
22nd.
22nd. So there might be some news coming out of that for us to discuss. I assume our only role on that is going to be to recommend, make a recommendation on the associated warrant article for whenever that's going to come up at a special town meeting. It sounds like in November. Okay, and then
AJ, I'm
Yep.
sorry, AJ, part of the CPC process is also if there's any committees that support a specific project, they often will, submit a letter of support.
I see. Okay,
So that would be a possibility if the finance committee were to vote support of their project.
okay. So maybe what I'll do is I will, between this next CPC meeting and the 27th, I'll reach out to Mateo and see if, if he, what he might need for or want from the FinCom in terms of feedback or letter of support, and then we can talk about that on the 27th. And then I think we can also then we can look at our budget request letter and discuss any, changes we want to make to that letter and the corresponding budget request form. So Kathy, kind of our budget process begins with a letter that we sent to all the department heads requesting a proposed budget for FY26, and then a corresponding budget form that they fill out, and it includes their allocated amounts for budget year 25, a proposed amount for 26, and then a comments field so that they can explain if there's a different amount they're requesting for this year. Okay, so we'll talk about that. Anything else that folks can think of that we'll want to talk about at our next meeting?
By then there was movement in the elementary school union contract.
Okay.
And a lot of movement. It might be that they have full agreement. It had not yet gone back to the school union. But by that time we should have word if it's settled and should have some numbers.
Well, that's great. Okay, good to hear. Okay, anything else for us to discuss tonight before we adjourn? Bob?
Yeah, I would like to ask Becky, there's a special town meeting on Thursday this week for that one item. And it says on the town website, FinCom approved unanimously. I just wonder, when did we approve this? What's that about?
Okay, so this warrant article is a repeat from annual town meeting. What happened was there was a procedural problem. It was the debt article for PFAS, the $150,000 loan.
Sure.
And because it was debt, it required a 2/3 vote. The moderator's statement was clear majority, and he did not take a vote. So we had no
Count. He didn't take a count.
Yeah.
We didn't take a count.
Yeah,
I apologize. We
thank
didn't
you.
take the
I got it.
count. So now we have to repeat the whole darn thing.
And we voted it, and this doesn't change it at all, except that the procedure was in error.
It's the same article.
Yeah, it's the same article. So I assume that you guys wouldn't have changed your vote.
Well,
I hope
we
so.
have to vote again. I think that you're right. So I just wasn't clear on that. So thank you.
And hopefully not too many people show up because it's at town hall. And Grace is worried we're gonna get hordes of people and they won't fit.
What's your expectation, like, in terms of FinCom representation?
I would
Okay.
really appreciate if you could muster a majority.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think if we were to get a lot of people, we'll move outside
Okay,
without changing the location.
got it. Okay, so it's Thursday at 6 p.m., is that right?
Yep.
Yes,
Okay, I should be able to make it myself.
I can make it.
And I can.
wait.
Wait.
It's Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday.
No,
Oh,
No,
Thursday.
it's Thursday,
Thursday.
You're right, it is Thursday.
15th.
15th, right? Yeah. Okay. All right.
Thank you,
So
guys.
I'm assuming maybe this is a mistake, but we're probably looking at like a short.
very
I
short.
mean, yeah, all right.
Speed
I
meeting.
just want to figure out.
Yeah,
what I
it
should
could
put
be
on my
over
calendar.
in 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes.
All right.
We-
That's
A
it.
land record.
That would never happen.
They don't need to tell us where the bathrooms are, or we just keep going.
All right.
And the quorum for a town meeting is 9, so I think we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Okay, anything else?
Mm.
All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn our meeting. We'll meet next on the 27th.
Right.
Second that.
Thank you, AJ. Thank you,
Roll call.
everyone.
Roll call. Bye, Bet.
All right, Bob, I heard yes, and Jim,
Yeah, I.
Cashew, aye.
Mosier, aye.
Salvador, I.
Stein, aye.
All righty.
Okay, very good.
Great. Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.